Have you ever need to convince somebody into buying your products or services? It feels horrible. It feels that like you're not showing your value or they don't see your value and you don't need to waste your time with that. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can convince people prior to having you to convince them. Now, why or who am I? I've been analyzing sales processes for over half a decade and discovered the pattern that the most successful entrepreneurs and sales people follow to have zero objections. And this is what I'm about to show you. Now, in order for you to understand how all of this works, you need to understand why do people make decisions. It all starts from the belief. When somebody believes in something, they're going to have some sort of thought or feeling, or both. And because of that, they're going to take an action. So if you make them have a different belief, they have a different thought, that is going to create a different action. In order for us to make our prospects stop hesitating and start buying, we need to understand how to change that belief. And I used to work in timeshare, so it's very difficult. It was very difficult to sell somebody something that they hated. They were against timeshares. In the beginning, it was hard because people used to come to me and they used to tell me, hey, I'm not here to buy anything. I'm just here to get the free stuff, okay? They used to tell me that. And how was I able to sell a timeshare when he or she was against that? So I had to learn how to change that belief very quickly. And then I started selling $10,000 timeshares in less than 2 hours to these people, so random strangers. And I'm about to show you the number one way to be able to do that, to change that belief. So if you can focus on anything, if anything in sales is to change that belief. If you can remember one thing of this video, I'm going to tell you right now, is changing people's beliefs. Now, what is a belief in the first place? The other day I was sleeping and thinking, how can I explain this to people that so that you can change other people's beliefs in the simplest way possible? A belief is relying on something to be true. Think about God. You're relying on God to be true. You don't know if it's true because there's no proof. But the only proof is a story. Story they told you as a child, the story that is in the book, in the Bible, it's all of that. Okay? Now, I'm not telling you to change other people's belief system on religion, but you can definitely change somebody's limiting belief on your products or services, because they're not thinking about it for since they were born. They're thinking about it based on some sort of proof that they saw. Maybe they saw some demonstration that they hated. Maybe it's based on all nonsense in their brain. And our only job here is to change that aspect. Okay, so how can we change how they rely on something to be true? What are they relying on in the first place? Are they relying on proof, on stories? Well, that's what we rely on things in order to believe in them. We rely on them on some sort of proof. I believe this plant is true because I see it. That's my sort of proof. And the best way to prove anything is by telling a story. Okay? People love stories. You can see it in Hollywood. People spend money to just hear a story. Okay? And if your story is good enough, you're going to make the prospect change that belief, have different thoughts and different feelings about your product, and say, you know what? You're right. I should buy this product. They're going to even sell themselves into buying the product if you do it in the right way. This is what I started utilizing in timeshares, now in my business, and helping in my clients as well. We create videos presentations, and even messages that tell this simple story that people can relate. Okay? So, our only job is to change somebody's beliefs. Now, how do we change somebody's beliefs? Is by changing the proof, having a better proof than they have than our prospects. If our proof is stronger and 10 times better, then they're gonna rely on our proof better, more than their previous proof stories that they've been telling themselves in the past. Okay, and now we understand that the best proof out there is stories, because Hollywood, it sells like millions and millions just by telling stories, and people believe in them. Uh, when you obviously show that it's real. Obviously, people do not believe in Spider Man, but people want to hear the Spider Man story. Now, how do we tell these stories, which is the most important aspect? We first position in ourselves and think of our prospects. We think in what problems and desires do they have? What are their desires? What do they want in their lives? What are they struggling? Maybe your solution, your product, it it solves it, and maybe you've been in that position in the past, so you can relate to them. So if you can't, then try to relate to them. There's a quote that is like, fall in love with your customers more than your products, because you can only always sell to your customers, and your products will we can only get old. Okay, so people will always have problems. Your product will always have to adapt to them, not the other way around. People not adapt to your products. That's what I want to tell you. Hopefully you understand. Okay, now the best way to tell stories is just by doing it like Hollywood. How does Hollywood do it? Hollywood tells you a conflict. Oh, you've been struggling with this, like Spider-Man. This kid is like a random kid that is struggling with science and all this aspects of life, and all of a sudden he saw this spider and it bit him, and boom, he had this superpowers that he now had to figure things out. And after figuring things out, he discovered the best way to defeat enemies. And that's how they do it. They have conflicts, and from those conflicts, they now have the solution, the solution, which is your product. So the only thing that you have to do is just try to relate to their problems and desires. And then you tell them, hey, here's the path. You're not telling them, here's my product or service. You're telling them, here's the path. In order for you to, if you're struggling on, you want to go on more vacations, the best way to do it is just have a strategy, a system that helps you go on more. Now, you can use many ways to have this system. You can do this, you can book flights on your own, or you could have a timeshare. See? And if your product or service is just a faster and easier way for your prospects to have the result that you're telling them they can get, then they will always purchase your products. Okay? Like Netflix. Netflix, they don't sell you movies. They sell you a faster and easier way to just be entertained. And that's what your product or service should be, at least perceived, okay, in your communication. So to wrap things up, what you need to understand is number one, people make decisions based on beliefs. And if we increased our proofs, our stories, people are going to rely on our proofs more, and they're going to believe different things, our beliefs, not their past beliefs. They're going to believe our beliefs. That will eventually help them purchase, okay, become a sold already, so that they're not hesitant anymore, and they already want to buy. And the best way to make this proof in this story is by relating with them, right? The desires, their problems, doing like Hollywood does it, and then telling them the amazing solution, the path, not the vehicle, which is your product, the path. You should go on more vacations. Now, if you want to do it cheaper and faster and easier, you should have a timeshare. Okay, that's how you do it. I'll see you in another show.